Salams and hello everyone. Today we're going to be working on session 17. In session 17, we are going to be evaluating exponents, multiplying scientific numbers, and dividing scientific notation numbers. Let me go and pull up the pre-assessment and we can get started. Alrighty, here we go. Let me share it. Okay. So this is the pre-assessment for evaluating exponents. So I'm gonna give you a chance to do it. I want to also go through and separate it so that you can see it. But this is the pre-assessment. Let me see if you see it. All right. So you can go ahead and get started. Now on this, let's try your best. I know this is a new concept for some, so try your best and see how well you do. If you don't understand, still try. Anything is better than nothing. If I move kind of fast, just pause it until you're finished, because this is going to be a mini session of our normal session. Since it's just me, I don't have any students at the time. Okay. So let's go ahead and start working the problems out. Okay, so the first one says, well, the direction says evaluate. All right, evaluate 4 to the second power, or you can also read it as 4 squared. All right, anytime you have an exponent, also called a power, whatever that number is, that's how many times you write the big number, which is called a base number. And you do multiplication. So 4 to the second power, which is also 4 squared, is 4 times 4. And 4 times 4 is 16. That's the first one. The second one, you have 2 to the third power, or it's also called 2 cubed. Okay, remember the small number, which is the exponent. That's how many times you're supposed to multiply that number times itself. Okay, so you have 2 cubed, which is 2 to the third power, which is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8 and not 6. We multiply. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. All right, the next one, 5 squared, also known as 5 to the second power, means that we write 5 twice. So we write 5 times 5, and 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, the next one, we have 9 squared. 9 squared is 9 times 9. It's not 18 because we're multiplying, so it's 81. Okay. Now, number 5, it says, what is 8 to the 0th power? Okay, so you write it as 8 to the 0th power. Now, there's a rule in math that says any non-zero number. That means any number that's not 0. Any non-zero number to the 0 power, any number to the 0 power equals 1. Okay, so 8 to the 0 power equals 1. Just like 9 to the 0 power equals 1. Any non-zero number, any number except for 0. Okay, 9 to the 0 number, 9 to the 0 power. Let's say x to the 0 power equals 1. Okay, anything to the 0 power equals 1. That's the rule. Now, I did some research on this because it can be very confusing to a lot of people. So when I did research, this is a perfect example to explain this rule. All right, so 8 to the 0 power equals 1. So in math, in order to get 1, well, one way to get 1 is when you divide the number by itself. So if I use 8, for example, and I say 8 divided by 8. Now, what's 8 divided by 8? 8 divided by 8 equals 1. And since we're doing things in exponential notation, another way of writing 8 is 8 to the first, and is divided by 8 to the first. Okay, 8 to the first is equal to 8. Okay, so we know that these three things are all equal to 1. Now, there's a rule in math that says when you divide by the same number, which is called a base number, you subtract the exponents. When you divide by a base number, you subtract the exponents. So based on that alone, we know we keep the base number the same. Sorry about that. So we have 8, and then we say 1 minus 1. So what is 1 minus 1? That's 0. So this is 8 to the 0 power. And so basically, I just proved that 8 to the 0 power is equal to 1. So anytime you hear something to the 0 power, it's the same as saying that number divided by itself. So if I say, what is 3 to the 0 power? It's the same as saying, what is 3 divided by 3, which is 1. Okay, so that explains that rule in math. And okay, so that's it for the explanation. All right, so the next one, what is 6 to the 0 power? Okay, 6 to the 0 power is 1. And remember, it's the same as saying what? 6 divided by 6. Okay, any non-zero number divided by itself is equal to 1. All right, so what is 1 to the 6th power? So we have 1 to the 6th power. That means we write 1 6 times. Oh my goodness, a lot of ones. You write 1 6 times. And I drew this dot because sometimes in math, we draw a dot. It's called a ray dot. It's just another form of multiplication, you know. And I tend to do that a lot when I'm explaining algebra, so I might go back and forth, but it's good for you to know that we don't always use the X for multiplication, not in algebra. In algebra, we use this little dot in between, and it's called a ray dot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so if you multiply 1 6 times, guess what? You get 1. Okay, because you're going to keep getting 1 when you keep multiplying by 1, and at the end, you're going to end up with 1 anyway. All right, so 1 to the 6th power is 1. 1 to the 8th power, the same rule applies. So 1 to the 8th power is 1. 4 to the 1st power. Remember, the power or exponent is how many times you write that number. So if I have 4 to the 1st power, that is just 4. So I'm writing 4 one time. So 4 to the 1st power is 4. 5 to the 1st power is 5. 10 to the 1st power is 10, and so on and so forth. Okay, now the last one says, what is 15 to the power of 1? So you write down 15, and a power of 1 means you put a small 1 there. Okay, so that's very similar to the previous problem that we did. So 15 to the first power, remember that small exponent is how many times you write that number. So if I write 15 one time, that means the answer is 15. And so that's it for that. So very good. Okay. You didn't have any problems, hopefully. If you do, you can reply back to the videos, or you can just send me a question. Email me a question. Okay. All right, so let's go on. I would like to go to the next assessment. So let me pull it up real quick. I don't want to move too slow. All right, so the next assessment, let's see. Let me share my desktop with you real quick. We go through this, and these are all the answers. See, they all came out right. Okay, so this is the pre-assessment. Now this is part B. We did part A, is A, B, and C always. So the pre-assessment for B, and I'm going to share this with you so you can see it. And we can have fun writing on this afterwards. So this is the assessment for B. Now, I want your answers to be in scientific notation. And we went over scientific notation thoroughly last time. thoroughly. I pretty much repeated the rules every single problem. So I want your answers in scientific notation. So take your time. If you don't understand the concept, that's okay. At the end, I will go through it. I just want to see what you know. What is your previous knowledge first? Because you could understand. So let's see what you know first. All right. Don't be ashamed to get an incorrect answer. We all get incorrect answers. Alrighty. Now remember, if I move on faster than you're finished, then you can just go ahead and pause everything and take your time. But I just have to move fast because this is a mini lesson of my actual lesson. Okay. Okay, so basically we're gonna go ahead and stop. We're gonna go through the rules first, and then we're gonna go back to the lesson. So I'm about to stop sharing that, and we're about to do something. We're about to go to the notes. Okay. Okay, so now you should be able to see the notes that I just copied. I found these notes, they were perfect online, so I didn't have to write it because this was perfectly said. All right, so when you're multiplying and dividing numbers in scientific notation, so I just copied the part for multiplication first because I just want us to focus on this. So it says multiplying. You multiply the two numbers out in the front and then add the exponents that goes with 10. Okay, you rewrite abiding by the scientific notation rules. So for example, let's give an example real quick. For example, let's say we had something like 2 times 10 to the 5th times the quantity of 3 times 10 to the 3rd. Let's say we had this. All right, so we're going to follow the rule. So the rule says you multiply the two numbers out in front. So what two numbers are in front? Oh, 2 is in front and 3 is in front. All right, so what's 2 times 3? 2 times 3 is 6. So you multiply these two numbers and you get 6. Now, for scientific notation, we have to keep our 10. So we just bring the 10 over, okay? We bring the 10 over. Now, the next part of the rule says, then you add the exponents that goes with the 10. Add the exponent that goes with the 10. All right, so let's look. So this exponent has 5, and this exponent has 3, and we have to add them together. So what's 5 plus 3? 5 plus 3 is 8. So our answer is 6 times 10 to the 8th power. And that's how you do that. So you multiply the two numbers in front. 2 times 3 is 6. You bring over times 10. And then you add the exponents, which are the small numbers on the top. 5 plus 3 is 8. And that's how we got that. So the answer is 6 times 10 to the 8th. Okay, so let's apply this to the problems that we did for the assessment. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the assessment. And we're going to look at that. Let me share my screen. Let's go back really quick to the assessment because I don't want to keep anybody waiting too long. So I'm going to try to move really fast. I'm going to go to the assessment, pull it up real quick, and let's see if you can see it. All right, let's see. Okay, so this is our assessment. Okay, now, so we're going to use the same rules that we used before that I just went over. So basically it says when you have two numbers in scientific notation, the first thing you want to do is multiply the two numbers in the front. So what is 5 times 1? 5 times 1 is 5. So we get that. Now what we want to do is bring over times 10 for the scientific notation. And the last step they told us to do was to add the exponents that's on the 10. So what is 5 plus 4? 5 plus 4 equals 9, so the 9 goes here. So the answer is 5 times 10 to the 9th power. Okay, that's the first one. Now the second one, same rule. Multiply the numbers in the front. 6 times 1 is 6 times 10 for the scientific notation. We add the exponents because we're doing multiplication of the same base. When the bases are the same, when the big numbers are the same, you add the exponents. That's a rule in when you're multiplying the same bases, you add the exponent. That's the exponent rule. All right, now, so 3 plus 1, you put 3 plus 1 right here. 3 plus 1 is 4, so it's 6 times 10 to the 4th. All right, the next one, you multiply 2 times 1, which is 2, times 10. And then I want to add 2 plus 3. And 2 plus 3 is 5. So that's 2 times 10 to the 5th. The next one is 3 times 2, which is 6. Oops, let me get below. 3 times 2, which is 6, times 10. And then the exponents, you have 3 plus 2, which is also 5. 6 times 10 to the 5th. Last but not least, you have 4 times 3, which is 12. Okay, 4 times 3, which is 12, times 10. And for the exponents, you have 4 plus 5. 4 plus 5 is 9, so that's to the 9th power. So you have 12 times 10 to the 9th power. Now, sometimes you might see negative exponents. So let's look. Oops, why I put a 4 there? Woo, why do I want to go backwards? All righty, let's make it a 6. Let's go in order, right? Make sure I can count. All right, so let's say 7 times 10 to the negative 7th times the quantity of 5 times 10 to the 2nd power. Okay, so we have this, the rules apply again. So we have 7 times 5, which is 35. Let me make it blue. Times 10. And our exponents, we have negative 7 and positive 2. Okay, now the rules for integers, when you have negative 7 and 2, those are integers. The rules for integers are, well, it's a lot of rules, but if the signs are different, which you have a negative 7 and a positive 2, you subtract and you take the sign of the larger number. So when we look at the 7 and the 2, the 7 is the larger number. And since the 7 is negative, the answer is going to be negative. So the answer is going to be negative 5. Okay, let's make another one up. Let's say for 7, we have, let's say 8 times 10 to the negative 2 times the quantity of 7 times 10 to the negative 5. Okay, that looks like a lot of fun. First step, multiply the numbers in front. 8 times 7 is what? 8 times 7 is 56. Times 10, and let's look at our wonderful exponents. We have negative 2 and a negative 5. Okay, plus sign. When the signs are the same, when you're using integers, when the signs are the same, the rule is to add the numbers and keep the sign. So with negative 2, if someone took away $2 and they took away $5, all together they took away $7. So negative 2 and a negative 5 is a negative 7. Okay. And let's do one more because I want to put 0 in. Okay, 0 is a really good number. Let me make it black to try to keep everything starting out with black. And this is 8. And why do I want to skip and go to 9? I don't know. So let me make my 8 look better than that. Come on now. I don't know why I'm trying to get ahead of myself. Okay, so yeah, let's make it 8. Okay, so let's say 3 times 10 to the 0 power times the quantity of 20 times 10 to the negative 2 power. Let's say we have that. Same rules apply. You want to multiply the numbers in front. So what is 3 times 20? That's going to be 60 times 10. And then the exponents that we're going to use is 0 plus negative 2. Okay? So 0 plus negative 2, if you're on 0 on the number line, let's say 0 happens to be here, and you have to add a negative 2, it's the same as subtracting 2, pretty much, then you will move 2 spaces over to the left, okay? And next to 0, you have a negative 1 and a negative 2. So 0 minus 2, or 0 plus a negative 2, is the same as negative 2. And that's supposed to be a 2, not a 1. Woo. All right, so this would be negative 2. So the answer for this would be 60 times 10 to the negative 2. All right, good. All right, so we can move on. Hopefully that was enough practice. I'm trying to make sure everyone gets enough practice. So let's go to the next screen and let's see what's next. So we did that. That was very good. All right, so we're going to go past the answers. Well, those are the notes. All right, we're going to go past the answers, and we have those answers plus more from the ones that I just created. And we're going to do the last assessment. Okay, so this assessment right here, let's see if I can make it small first. Let's see if I can get it all in. Okay, let's go back here. Make it big. Okay, so let's see if we can squeeze it on here. Now, I can squeeze it, I just have to cut off the title. But the title, I need you to pretty much, I want you to put the answer in scientific notation. So let's say I make it small, and I want you to write this, which is the last pre-assessment, and put this into scientific notation for your answer. So this is the last assessment. Okay, I'm gonna share this with you and try your best. But just keep this in mind. When you have multiplication, remember multiplication and division are opposites. So if you have to do something for multiplication, just be cautious that a lot of times you do the opposite when you have division. Okay, that's a hint. Let me give you 3 minutes and pause it if I move too fast. All right, thank you. Okay, I think that's enough time for right now. Like I said, this is a mini session, so I'm going to be moving kind of fast because it's just me in a room and I'm just talking to my students. So let's go. All right, so the first thing I want to do, I want to go through the rules for dividing numbers that's in scientific notation form. So we're going to go back through the rules really quick so that you can understand where I'm getting these answers from. Okay. All righty, can you see everything? Let's see if you can, okay, so you can see everything I'm doing. All right, so we're going back to the rules, and it says that multiplying, dividing numbers in scientific notation. All right, so I'm just switching it to another screen real quick so that I can have fun writing. I love writing on this particular screen. So we're looking at dividing numbers in scientific notation. And like I said, I found this online. This was a perfect explanation of what I was trying to say. All right, so dividing, we're going here. It says dividing. When you're dividing numbers that's in scientific notation, that means one number is in scientific notation in the numerator and the other number is in scientific notation in the denominator. And I'm going to draw it out. It says you divide the two numbers in the front. Okay, so let me just make an example. Okay, so you can see it. So let's see. Let's say we have 10. No, let me change the 10 since we're going to be using so many 10s. Let's say we have 20 times 10 to the 8th divided by 5 times 10 to the 3rd. Okay, let's say we have that. And so we're going to go through and I'm going to explain it as we look at the example. Okay, it says when you divide the numbers in scientific notation, it says divide the two numbers in the front. So we have to divide the two numbers in the front. So the two numbers in the front, you have 20 and you have 5. So what is 20 divided by 5? So 20 divided by 5 is 4. So we put 4 down. We did that part. Now, after that, it says, and then subtract the exponents that go with 10. Okay, so we look at the 10s. This has an 8 and this has a 3. So once we find out what the exponents are, we're supposed to subtract. So we're going to have 8 minus 3. And another thing to do is to put a little subtraction sign right by the division line. So when you go from the numerator down to the denominator, you can read it as 8 minus 3. And that will help you in the long run once you start getting integers, negatives, and things like that. Okay, so 8 minus 3 is 5. So we have 4 times 10. Remember, scientific notation, to the 5th power. And that's all you do. You divide the first numbers. You bring over your times 10, and then you subtract your exponent. So 8 minus 3 is 5. So it's 4 times 10 to the 5th. And that's how you do that. And so I'm going to apply these rules to our assessment so we can finish our assessment and then we'll be finished. So let me go ahead. So I'm gonna go ahead down to the assessment. Okay, those are the answers. Okay, so let's look at the answers. No, let me go back. Instead of showing the answers, let's just work it out one at a time. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. So let's just do it one at a time. All righty, I'm gonna copy it really quick. We're gonna work it out together. Let's see if you can see it. Step by step. I'm not gonna spoil anything and show answers. I'm just gonna do step by step. Okay. All right, so the pre-assessment B. Okay, sorry, it's the wrong one. No wonder. Okay, it helps if I get on the right one, right? I have a lot of different things going on here, so let me go ahead. I don't want to go backwards. For some reason, I'm really going backwards. All right, so I'm gonna copy the assessment so you can see it. Sorry about that. I had the old assessment, but let me copy the new assessment. All righty, that would help, right? Let me copy the new assessment, which is division. We're finished with multiplication. All righty, let's get this show on the road. All right, let me move this over. Okay, let's share it, see if you can see it, and let's keep it rolling. All righty, I'm on part 3. Whew. All righty, so it's kind of small, so I'm gonna just rewrite it. So the first one says 5 times 10 to the 6 over 5 times 10 to the 3rd. Now the rule says you divide the numbers in front. So what is 5 divided by 5? Okay, 5 divided by 5 is 1. We did the first part. Now we do times 10 because we want our answer to be in scientific notation. The last rule is you take the exponents and you subtract them. Remember, I said put an imaginary subtraction sign so you can say 6 minus 3. 6 minus 3 is 3. So the answer is 1 times 10 to the 3rd. And that's the answer for that one. Okay, and I want to highlight it right there. Okay. All right, so the next part, let's do it in red. All right, so we have 7 times 10 to the 8th over top of 7 times 10 to the 5th. All right, so first rule, you divide the numbers in front. 7 divided by 7 is 1. Okay. Okay. Let me make it blue. Why not? Let's keep it blue. 1 times 10, and then your exponents are what? Exponents are 8, imaginary subtraction, 5. So what is 8 minus 5? That's 3. So this is to the third power. Okay, good. We have that. All right, the next one, we're going to write it in red. We have 6 times 10 to the 7th power over 6 times 10 to the first power. All right, so first thing you do, you multiply the numbers in front. Divide the numbers in front. 6 divided by 6 is 1. Okay, so that's 1 times 10, scientific notation form. And then you go ahead and you subtract 7 minus 1. 7 minus 1 equals 6. So that's 1 times 10 to the 6th power. Good. The last one we have is 9 times 10 to the 9th divided by 9 times 10 to the 4th. First thing you do, you divide the numbers in the front. 9 divided by 9 is 1 times 10. That's the scientific notation. 1 times 10. And we want to subtract the exponents. So that's 9 minus, remember, 9 minus 4. 9 minus 4 equals 5. So that is 1 times 10 to the 5th. All right, so I have that. All right, so let me give you a few more examples. Just change the numbers up. I made all the numbers have the same basis. So let's change up. Let's say you had 12 times 10 to the negative 3 over 2 times 10 to the second. Okay, so we divide the base numbers in front. Okay, so we say, what's 12 divided by 2, which is 6, times 10 for the scientific notation form. And then we want negative 3 minus 2. So what is negative 3 minus 2? So you have negative 3 and you making it more negative. So you add 2 to you adding 2 negatives to what you already have. So that's going to be negative 5. Very good. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get that 6 times 10 to the 5th. Okay, so you had negative, someone took away $3 and they took away $2. Altogether, they took away $5. When the signs are the same, which you can make them the same, you can make this a negative 3 and box it, and you can box this and make that a negative 2. So in actuality, the signs are the same. And so that will be negative 5. Okay, let's try another one. 6. Let's try 10. No, let's try 14 times 10 to the negative 4 over 7 times 10 to the negative 6. Okay, let's try this. So first thing you want to do is divide the numbers in the front. So 14 divided by 7 is, let me make this color what, red? I can make it blue. 14 divided by 7 is 2 times 10. And then my exponents, I can keep it blue, would be negative 4 minus a negative 6. So negative 4 minus a negative 6. Now in math, when we have two signs in the middle, we multiply them. So we change the subtraction, we make it look upon as a negative. So a negative times a negative is a positive. And so in actuality, this is negative 4 plus 6. Now the signs are different because I have a negative 4 and a positive 6. So when the signs are different, you subtract and take the sign of the larger number. Since the 6 is larger we take the positive sign for our answer. So our answer would be positive 2 because 4 from 6 is 2. Okay, so we just plug our 2 right here. And so our final answer is 2 times 10 to the second power. Okay, so that's it. If you have any questions, remember, I want you to do the homework problems, and I also want you to do all the videos that I attached to the homework sheet. And those videos, view all the videos. Those will help you also if you're struggling, and you'll see different strategies of how to approach this. This was just one particular way that I thought of. There's so many different ways to do it, but pretty much the rules are the same. However, you can approach it differently, in different ways. So that's it. Salams and bye-bye.